Hey, Kerry here, Best of US. Wanted to share with you some of my feelings with the new year and maybe help you see that many things are more possible than what you might think. I want to start my conversation with the photograph over my left shoulder there. That's a picture of my father and my two brothers. I'm the one there on the right. And the meaningfulness of this in my life, particularly right at this time, is that I came to a realization today that this photograph, I looked at it, and I've looked at it many times, and I never really thought, why isn't my mother in that photograph? And then I came to the conclusion by judging the age of my youngest brother that the fact is she wasn't alive. This picture was taken probably within 4 or 5 months of the death of my mother. Now you need to understand that my father had received a bill from the hospital for $70,000. This was in 1953. She had been in the hospital for something like 8 months and being treated for breast cancer that had spread throughout her body. And he couldn't afford a professional photographer. There was no way. But yet he did. And what I realized was this was a man who was facing tremendous adversity. I since have come to know that his family was strongly suggesting that they split the 3 boys up and each one of his brothers and sisters take one. And yet he went on. He kept us together. He was an over-the-road salesman. So I relate that there was a lot going on in his head that was saying, I can't. And then I thought about, several years later, I guess I was in my teens, he sat down on a bed across from me and he said, I never want you to say the word can't in front of me again. For the rest of your life, I never want to hear that you say the word can't, because you can. And you have the ability to do anything and everything that you might choose to. Probably not even recognizing that has inspired me. It's taken me in directions that I probably shouldn't have, because shortly after this, as I got in deeper into school, I realized I was a dummy. I couldn't read. I was no good in math. The only thing I was good at was fighting on the playground, and that's because I fought him all the time. He was 16 months older than me. We were both angry, and we fought a lot. His nose had been punched many times by the time I got through high school. And so I knew that you could win any fight you wanted to win with a stroke to the nose. So I wanted to share that with you because I know a lot of you are making New Year's resolutions. And you're saying to yourself, this year I want to. This year I'm going to. What I want you to say is, this year I'm willing to. And what I mean by that is I want it to follow. What are you willing to sacrifice? That man had to raise 3 boys. His brothers and sisters wanted to break up his family, but he stayed on the road. And he prevailed, and he raised us. He eventually got remarried. That's another story. But what I also realized was, I was thinking about this, I know absolutely nothing about my grandfathers. I have a few pictures of his father. I have no pictures of my mother's father. And as I went through life, I came to a conclusion that I wanted to leave something of myself behind. And I want to explain that to you. This is our kitchen. That's our kitchen wall. I painted every one of those paintings. I have no formal training in painting whatsoever. I just decided one day I wanted to leave something behind, and I started painting. I started actually doing most of it in kind of an early American style, and because it has no depth of field, and I had to teach myself how to paint depth. I'm sharing this with you because I want you to understand you have no boundaries. No one taught me how to paint. I also do photography. We do Christmas cards. Early jobs was with Polaroid, and this was one of our non-Polaroid pictures that we sent out. As you can see, this kind of raised a little bit of question amongst our family. My stepmother wrote me and said, "What are you raising, some nudists?" But we got very creative in our photography, and it's something, again, that we left behind, or that we are leaving behind. This is a kind of a gallery of some of the pictures that we did for our Christmas cards. Again, wanting to make sure that we shared our lives with the people that we loved, and also to give them a picture. I think you ought to look at this one up here on the top. This same year my granddaughter was born, and my daughter had her leg amputated. A very meaningful Christmas picture. So again, I'm 75 years old. I recognize this year that the past year represented 1.3% of my life. When I was 10 years old, it represented 10% of my life. 1 year did. So the years go fast. And as an individual, you have to, at this time of the year, a lot of us make resolutions as to what we're going to do and how we're going to change and how we're going to make our lives better. Because of what my father said to me, that I don't want you to say I can't, the mind speak that goes on in my head, and for your information, 90% of the conversations you have in your life are with yourself. It's the mind speak. That's that unwanted roommate that lives up in your head and quite often tells you that you can't and that you shouldn't, and people will laugh at you. And if you do a YouTube video, they're going to laugh at you, and you're going to be the laughing stock of, and you're going to shame your family. Well, that's all a bunch of bullshit. You can do whatever you want, and I want you to start saying to yourself, what if? What if I did what Kerry's doing? And could I sell houses over YouTube? You bet you can. You can sell anything over YouTube because there is an audience, and you will build an audience, and that audience will follow you and come to respect you and trust you, and you'll be successful in what you're doing. Now I want to share another part of my life and what I think you should be doing. Shortly after I retired in, I guess it was about 05, I did a lot of self-examining because I recognized that I had made the same mistakes over my life, and in some cases they made my life very difficult. I recognized as a result of my mother dying at a very young age that there were some things that happened to me that pretty much formed my character. One of those things is I'm very hard to love, and I'm very hard to give love. So I don't have a large circle of friends as a lot of people do. I'm very protective in that regard. But at the other hand, I like to share. I like to share my knowledge and my experience. So I sat down and I asked myself, why did you succeed where you succeeded, and why did you fail where you failed? And what I came to realize, there were 10 events that happened in my life that formed my character before I was 14 years of age. One, and the most important one, was, of course, the death of my mother. And so, again, in my spirit of wanting to share and wanting to leave something behind, I sat down and I wrote a book. I titled the book Tall Grass, and probably because I envisioned it as me coming out of the weeds and sharing my life story and coming to understand myself better. The other side of it, as I got further and further into it, was I recognized I was leaving something behind so that my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren would know who I was and why I was how I was. And I thought that was important because I recognized that I knew more about Thomas Jefferson and Abraham Lincoln and George Washington than I knew about either one of my grandfathers, because they left nothing behind. And if you're going to be here on Earth, you need to leave something behind, more than photographs. But you need to leave what's in here behind. And so that's why I wrote that book. After my daughter got cancer, she brought all this about, what you see behind me, the Christmas web. We had a family tradition, a family Christmas tradition, in which we hid a major present somewhere in the house Christmas morning, and then they had to go find it. And she asked me to write a book and put together a kit, and it's called The Christmas Web. You see down there, written by Kerry Grinkmeyer. Again, something that I'm leaving behind for my family, and I'm inspiring, and I'm sharing this because I want you to do this. You have skills, you have talents that are untapped into, because somebody told you that you don't dare do that. You don't share those kind of things with other people, and that's all wrong, because you know they're going to laugh at you, and you're going to shame our family, and you're going to make a mess of it. Well, that's all wrong. One of the things I want you to do is to create a YouTube channel, if only to share part of you with your family, but more importantly, to share what you got in your mind, to share your experiences, your talents, your skills with the world. I started this 8 months ago. If you've watched some of my videos, you know that I surpassed the 1,000 subscribers, and that's really important to me. But more importantly is at this point, roughly 6,000 to 7,000 people come to my YouTube channel every month. Think about that. I'm the dyslexic kid that was named the dummy in school, and I've got people who want to know what I know. You can do that. This is New Year's. Can't go on without saying that you might know I wrote another book. So this is my third publication, and I'm working on the fourth. And it's about how to use social media, and I gear it towards real estate, but it's really geared, it can be used for anything. As I said, if you sell Porsches or Lamborghinis, or if you're a doctor or a lawyer, and you're selling something, and the best tool there is to sell is YouTube. Think of it this way. In your city, wherever you live, there's some lawyer who over the last year or years has come on TV and told you to call him when you get hit by a truck, or when you need your Social Security relooked at, and they spend something in the neighborhood of I would say $1 million a month spreading their message. I own some equipment. I'm using what's called a gimbal right now, a SMOVE, a smooth. It's a hard word for me to say. And I'm getting a message out to 6,000 people a month, and that will grow to 60,000 people by July, and probably 600,000 people to this time next year. And it's not costing me anything. In fact, it's making me money. So you need to do this. I want you to do some resolutions this year. And I want you not to start with the words that I will or I'm going to. You need to bring it into the present. It needs to be today. And it needs to start with the words, I'm willing to. I'm willing to go to the gym 4 days a week and spend an hour there to get my body in shape. I'm willing to cut back on my bad eating habits to lose X number of pounds. I'm willing to go on YouTube and share my knowledge with my audience and put another zero on my paycheck. I'm willing to do that. Now, what I'm going to ask from you, because this is me giving to you, I'm going to ask you in the comments section to tell me what you're willing, and everybody else who's going to read those comments, what you're willing to do this year to achieve what you want to achieve. I want you to commit to it, and I want you to tell me. If you don't do that, I'm going to punish you somehow. I don't know. But that's how it has to go. As I said, 90% of the conversations that you have in your life are with your mind speak. And that evil roommate up there is a very negative, whatever. You need to change that. You need to sit down with yourself. And like my father said to me, I never want to hear the word I can't again. I don't want to hear that from you. I want to hear either I'm willing to do this, or what I like to say, what if? What if I did this and this? What would happen? And start thinking outside the box. What if I got on YouTube and did a presentation on I'm the best Porsche salesman in Birmingham, and let me take you for a ride in a Porsche. And then you keyworded it, Porsche Birmingham. No, initially you aren't going to see any results whatsoever, but eventually, and if you say your name enough and you put enough behind it and you do it often enough, you will own the words, not only on YouTube, but on Google. Maybe it's the best Porsche salesman in the Southeast. I don't know. Maybe it's the best dentist in the Southeast. Maybe it's the best orthopedic surgeon in the Southeast. But be knowledgeable. The lawyer in your community is spending $1 million a month to achieve what he's achieved. You can do it. This gimbal cost me $157, and it's going to work for me for a long, long time. The camera I own already. Go on YouTube and start writing your first book. That's the other thing I want you to put in the comment section. What's the title of the book that you're going to write this year? I'll do a video and tell you how I did it and how it all came about. But that's what I want in the comments. And then the other thing I expect from you is to subscribe to my YouTube channel and share this video with everyone that you love, that everyone that you want to make a commitment to, and everyone that you want to make a commitment to you. Happy New Year. Welcome to the Roaring 20s. This is going to be one hell of a decade. You'll remember this one, I guarantee you. All right. Have fun, get back to work, and don't forget the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.